Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm back at it again with another video. Now, I'm trying to take it easy as far as uploading multiple videos in one day, but I said to myself, hey, I'm done running my errands. It's still a little bit early in the night. I mean, it's 10 minutes after SmackDown, so that's not going to be the case. But, hey, why not? Let me give you guys one more bonus content, considering tomorrow I have to work a long shift anyways, and I'm probably not going to be able to upload anything. I mean, if something breaks, obviously I'll talk about it, try to find some time, but really I'm probably not going to be back till Sunday. So hey, let me give you guys one more bonus content, especially with this, because I think this is really serious and I'm very curious. Now, not to clickbait you guys, obviously this person, with all due respect to him, is somewhat of a, nobody. No disrespect to him, just, speaking facts here. But AEW did fire somebody, and you don't really see that often, so I'm very curious as to the extent of his charges in regards to domestic abuse. Now, obviously, all this stuff is alleged, but the link is down in the description box below if you'd like to follow along. This guy, his name is Bear Boulder. Bear Boulder is reportedly no longer with AEW. Boulder, real name Thomas Wanso, fucking hillbilly ass name, was reportedly fired by AEW following an arrest for battery by strangulation. Ooh, what the hell? The victim has been identified as Boulder's fiance. Fightful first reported Boulder's release. According to the arrest affidavit, the incident took place on January 13th. And I quote, "I interviewed the caller," or the victim, "who informed me she was physically battered by her fiance, Thomas Wanso," obviously Bear Boulder. The affidavit reads, "I observed what appeared to be several injuries on the victim, and photographs were taken and uploaded to Axon Evidence to be attached to the report. According to the victim, she sustained injuries around her neck, which included red marks as well as scratches just below her neck, just above her breasts. The back of the victim's neck was also red and appeared it was battered as well. The victim also sustained a bruise that appeared to be bright red on her right hand. According to the victim, she was in a verbal argument with Thomas that escalated into a physical altercation when he pushed her to the ground. Thomas then placed his foot onto her throat, causing the victim to lose consciousness and black out. The victim stated she gained consciousness approximately 5 to 10 minutes later and was able to retreat outside to a patio balcony area and call 911. According to the affidavit, Thomas' fiance said that he had been physical with her 5 to 10 minutes during their relationship. Wanso admitted what he did was not right and told officers he was upset after his fiance made negative comments about his job. Orange County, Florida court records show that, hang on, sorry, there was a link right there. Orange County, Florida court records show that a no contact order was granted on January 27th. Boulder, who regularly teamed with Bear Bronson as the Iron Savages, last wrestled for the company on January 11th. Bronson responded to reports on social media, and I quote, this is coming from Bear, "I don't know what to say. I'm sick to my stomach. I've been checking in with Rainey since I found out to make sure she's okay, but I did not know the horrific details. I've been on a city date with my wife for the past few hours, and right now I just want to turn my phone off to be with her." That's what Bear Bronson has said. And obviously he's referring to his fiance as his wife. Now, obviously, I don't think it said it here. Did I read it? I don't remember reading that part, but I guess I did say that part. He's no longer working with AEW, so obviously Tony Khan ended up firing the guy. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and play any games with you. I'm not familiar with who, Bear Bronson is, or Bear Broder, or whatever his name is. But that's a serious situation. That's a very, very, very serious situation. And actually, just to make things clear, I'm sorry, Bear Bronson and Bear Boulder are two different people. So Boulder was the person who ended up, with the charge. Bronson is the one who talked on social media and pretty much said that he obviously doesn't condone what his partner did. Now, obviously, just for, slenderous purposes, I gotta say that this is all alleged. Technically speaking, I know it's a report. I know that, this stuff is photographed and everything. But, just to clarify, all this stuff is technically speaking, all alleged. But let's just speak from the perspective of whether or not this is true. It's evil. It's evil. But at the same time, and people are like, Devontae, chill for a second. I'm not condoning his actions. All I'm saying is, I would like to know what escalated the situation. Is that fair to say? Obviously, no matter what happened, look at this guy. This guy's fucking huge. Like, holy shit. He kind of looks like Hanson from the War Raiders. That's who he kind of looks like a little bit, to me at least. This guy's fucking huge. Now, unless his wife is about the same size as him, which it doesn't really sound like that's the case. There's no reason for a guy this big to put his hands on a woman under any circumstances. You know what I mean? Hell, I probably argue for most men, he probably shouldn't have put his hands on them also. It's like an automatic size difference, like off rip, just looking at this guy. He's fucking huge. But I am still curious regardless, because, there's always this perception when it comes to men and stuff like that, especially with domestic abuse and domestic violence situation, where it's like, always taking the woman's side. And obviously, regardless, don't put your hands on a woman, especially when you're that fucking big. But I would like to know, what did she do? Again, not excusing it, but I would like to know, what did she do? Did it escalate because she put his hands on him first? Still, probably shouldn't retaliate. I mean, at least not to the degree where you're putting your foot on someone's neck and causing them to pass out. That's, would that technically be considered attempted homicide? I would presume, right? You put your foot, or at least aggravated assault at the very least. But good on Tony if this happens to all be true. Again, gotta say the word alleged, tiptoeing through the tulips here. Obviously the right decision was to fire the guy. Now, it's already bad enough that, again, he's pretty much a nobody. I didn't know who he was before this. I felt like maybe I did hear his name before, or at least the team, but I have no clue who this guy is as far as following him. So it's not like there was anything wasted. There's no loss in all of this. But I don't know. All I'm saying is, from that person, because we see this, it's not as if we haven't seen this before, right? When it comes to domestic violence and stuff like that, when it comes to wrestlers. Hell, I forgot the guy's name, but an old timer, he ended up, killing his wife, a year ago or 2 years ago? Now, I think those were under more, different circumstances. I think he claimed that his wife wanted to die and it was a mercy killing, right? Someone can correct me in the comment section. But, it's not as if we haven't seen domestic abuse before. I think BJ Whitmer also, right? He was in a situation like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago also. What's that guy's name again? I always forget his damn name. The one that was in the opener in the triple threat match. I actually made a video on him when I accidentally slandered Will Ospreay. I forgot Buddy's name though. So you guys know who I'm talking about though. The one that was in the opener triple threat match at with Joey Janela and Darby Allin in that hardcore match. Jack something. I could be getting his name wrong, but that's neither here nor there. It's just to talk about domestic abuse within professional wrestling in general. It doesn't matter the sex. It doesn't matter the gender. You could talk about actual physical abuse. You could talk about emotional abuse. That should always be a thing that's not accepted regardless of your, position in wrestling or your position in life. And, it's one of those times where, it's not something that's necessarily praiseworthy, because you would think that should be the obvious go-to, is to fire a person who ends up committing something so heinous, if it happens to be true. But like I said, with situations like this, I just want the wrestling community, if I can do my part, because you're automatically going to have people obviously jumping down the guy's throat. Not to say that it's not necessary, but always, at least, if for nothing else, have it in your brain to at least ask, how did the situation escalate to that point? You know what I mean? Because even though it's not right for a man that big to put his hands on anyone, let alone a woman, let alone his fiance, at least ask yourself, like, could you find it to at least, see what happened to it getting to that point and that escalation? Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen situations or have heard of situations of a woman slapping a dude in the face or something like that, and the guy just, instinctively turned around and backhanded her or something like that. Not to say that that's cool also, but at the very least, it's retaliatory, right? But then I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Because obviously he took it way too far with the strangulation and then, putting his foot on her neck and, allegedly her losing consciousness, for God's sakes. But it is crazy. It's one of those situations that you don't really see every day, especially in wrestling like this, at least to this degree. The last time you heard about someone being strangled by a wrestler, it didn't really end too well for her or their son, or him for that matter. So you always want to nip those things in the bud. And even though necessarily you can probably say none of this stuff is praiseworthy as far as firing him goes, again, that's the go-to, obviously, and especially with somebody like this. Just, it's nice to know that kind of stuff is being weeded out. As I've talked about in the past, when it comes to me, I've been through domestic abuse, not me personally, but witnessing it happening to my mom when I was younger. So I'm never going to have, a space to even care for that kind of action. You know what I mean? Sounds like I'm virtue signaling here, but I'm just being real. But there is a side of me that also is curious, or there is a side of me that's super curious as to why it led to that. If for nothing else, just to, get both sides of the story, even though in the end of the day, guy shouldn't have put his hands on her, right? But just a short little video. Apparently this guy got fired, and one of the people on the short list of people who were actually fired by Tony Khan. Let me hear your thoughts down below. Maybe you might know more than me. Who knows? Maybe this guy has something going on social media that you've been following, that, maybe the signs were there, obviously. And actually, speaking of one more situation, I just talked about this a few months ago, the whole Nikki Bella and Artem situation, that was claimed to be domestic abuse also. So, it is what it is. It is what it is, but it sucks. It sucks. There's no place in wrestling. There's no place in any vicinity. There's no place in the world for stuff like that. Let me just hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Just a short little video talking about and being aware of the situation. But as always, my name is Millennial Smark, and I'll be catching you guys later. A deuces and a P. Ice.